Move on to item 5, the budget update and presentation of the resolution.
Just a modification that actually are coming from Human Resources, Technology Department, and the Facility Department. So I'm sitting on these. Alright, so tonight we're gonna recap where we were last week, and then we're hear from the departments and definitely answer any questions you have after that. So as we discussed last time, I'm not set up today to recap, so at this point in time, very modest increase in foundation aid, with $99,000 of that, $196,000 increase, earmarked specifically for the community schools program, where we have to identify something specific to use that money for, not general purpose money as we're typically used to. Again, we have that decrease in our building aid, just a reminder to everyone, that wasn't known that was coming. This is related to old projects, old debt and handbook. And just for information's sake, while we have this decrease of $459,000 on our building aid, we did have both that, a little over $800,000, come up from old projects on the expense side. So it does go hand in hand with revenue and expense. Other items relate to a decrease in our excess custody, which is the aid we get on our special education items. So overall, we have a decrease in our total state aid at this point, $240,000. Tax levy limit, just to highlight our current inflation rate that we're using for next year's calculation is 1.81, and our tax-based growth factor is 1.0175, down a little bit from last year, but still a very healthy number. So this is the overview of the calculation. I won't walk you through it step by step like I did last time. But again, the tax-based growth factor and the allowable levy factor are both very good numbers to work with as far as levy growth. Some increases for pilots from last year 965 up to just over $1 million, which is a deduct. And new to our calculation this year, we do have a little bit of carryover since we didn't go out to the maximum levy last year. There's a calculation within the formula that allows us to take advantage and recoup some of that next year if we so choose. Capital exemptions, that includes all of our capital debt, bus debt, things of that, $1 million transfer to the capital fund. New this year is our BOCES capital expenditures, offset by building aid, relevant transportation aid, and BOCES aid. So based on the calculation as it stands now, our maximum allowable levy is $41,487,000, $2.6 million over last year, or 6.76%. Again, that seems high from what we've gone up to in prior years, but just a reminder to the board that we are fortunate to have the growth in our district within our district boundaries. Rate and levy increases are one and the same. So while the levy increase seems high, our rate increase has always been nominal compared to the levy increase. So this is a summary of our budgeted revenues without consideration to reserves and fund balance at this point. We'll work with those as we start to balance the budget. So without those, 76,955. Summary of our expenditures puts us at $83 million, $3.1 million over last year. So with the numbers we're working with now, we have a $6.1 million gap. Again, higher than what we've typically seen in years past. But again, still working on how retirements are affecting the budget, reviewing the BOCES budget, working with our health benefit consultant to update premium equivalents and things like that. So a lot of things still left to do. Having conversations with the executive team on things we can consider as we balance this budget. So more details to come on closing that gap. So any questions before I turn it over to the various departments on the budget as a whole? And a reminder, we've heard from our standard system. So that, turn it over to Caitlin.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm here to provide an overview of the human resources budget for the year 2020-2021. As you can see in the top line, salaries are slated to increase to 335, those are contractual increases. Our equipment line will steady at 2250. Our contractual amount is slightly increased to 86,587. That line includes the money we spend for the Affordable Care Act consultant who helped us be in compliance with health insurance requirements as it relates to the Affordable Care Act. That's 45,000 of that line item. And also our EAP program, or Employee Assistance Program, that is roughly 17,000. I thought it would be a good opportunity to highlight the EAP program. We did, as you know, go through the contract and move to a new EAP provider this school year, and it's been going very well. But I wanted to look at just the first 6 months and comparing the 6-month period year over year. Last year with our prior provider, there were 13 Horset family members served. This year in the 6-month period, there were 34 individuals served. So utilization has more than doubled. And in addition to that, they've been providing training to different buildings. They have a catalog of different social emotional trainings they can come in and provide. And I know they have been around to a couple of different buildings. And they've also provided support at different staff and different departments for community strategies. So we've been very pleased with that. The conference line will study at 10,140. And that also includes that conference for different units, including the teaching assistants and administrators. The BOCES line is a slight dip. There's no drop in services. It's just based on that's what we have as a preliminary BOCES number for the BOCES budget. And that includes the health and safety coaster. The health and safety coaster provides us with different trainings, including the right to know and the bloodborne pathogens, trainings on personal protective equipment, fall protection. I know they do some forklift training out at the bus garage. It also includes indoor air quality testing, which is crucial to us as we undergo a capital project. Also, water quality testing, even that is outside of the normal requirements of the Department of Health. It also includes asbestos inspections and sampling, and emergency response and coordination, as well as fire and structural inspections that we have to do in all our buildings. And the other item that goes in that BOCES line is advertising. So we do a cooperative advertising service where we advertise for positions that we need. That brings the total to $579,742, which is an increase of 1.86% over last year. Looking more closely at the salaries line, there are 5 positions, 5 FTEs. Same as last year, no changes to that staffing. There's 1 director, myself, 2 clerical, and 2 benefit specialists. Any questions on this budget? Thank you. Up next is Philippine Foley, the Defense Department overview.
Good evening, everyone. Looking at the technology department overview, this being my first year, we decided to try to keep a lot of things similar to where they were as we try to go through and kind of assess some of our needs and wants moving through, especially now with the New York State 2B laws going into effect and kind of some of the processes that we do there. With that being said, equipment, we've kept the same. Equipment goes to replenishing laptops or laptop carts, as well as the needs that teachers have, whether it's desktops, laptops, and projectors, things of that need. We go to each school, we talk with principals, we kind of take a look at the replenishment cycle, which is somewhere in the 6-7 year range, and then we kind of isolate those needs and use that for those. Supplies are keeping the same as well. They go from everything from server racks, cabling, supplies to help our technicians help around the district. And we also use those supplies as far as the needs that come up, especially with projectors and bulbs and things of that nature. Bulbs can be actually quite pricey. We're hoping in the future, but as we go towards panels, we will see that increase as we go along. Technology and contractual services, everything from some programs, warranties, things that will help keep our servers maintained and things of that nature. Summer help is a very important one. During the summer, we tend to go through all of our computers and we re-image them and we put more programs on them, and having that summer help to do that is invaluable. So BOCES, as you can see, we have a little bit of a decrease in BOCES, which is kind of interesting because we've had a lot of things added with BOCES as far as the VoIP system. We'll talk about this in a second here. And we have an overall decrease of 4.83%. So what BOCES, how we break down BOCES is we have our network technicians and support. Our network technicians, we have 4 technicians who are here full time, and then 2 days a week we have an additional technician who comes in. They're very hardworking and they're always around willing to help out. And with the district this size and without as many computers that we have in service, they're a very valuable service to have. The contractual and software, that tends to be our largest, and what that entails is really our network infrastructure, from our licensing to our fiber optics, things that are pretty much running our network, along with some other softwares like our QWare that is for anything online that we make maintenance requests to, and things of that nature. So we have the student management system, which is our school pool. Financial management system, which is the LINCAP, and this year we incorporated the VoIP system, which is voice over IP, and that's the digital phone system. So now we're all digital as far as the phones go. That's across the district, and that's a big score for us. And then the test scoring is everything from our CPT and the databases that they keep at BOCES. Are there any questions at this point? Yes.
I have questions about the equipment line item.
Yep.
And I know you talked about replenishment cycle and sort of canvassing the administrators to get a sense of the needs. But one of the things I think I heard in one of the classrooms on this tour a few weeks ago was it was a I want to say 3rd grade English class at Center Street. They were using iPads as part of what they were doing, and there was a lot of excitement for that, and they said they can always use more, and I'm just wondering if obviously we have limitations, but is this equipment, are we able to meet 100% of what you're given as, the requirement from that canvassing, or theoretically there's a demand or request for more and we're just not able to do it for budget reasons? How would you describe kind of where we are able to fund the identified need?
Well, we're actually starting to work on trying to quantify that. And what we're taking a look at is we're running what's called our SCCM. It's our basically management system where we can see all computers that actually touch our network. That once they log in, it's about a 90-day window. We can see when they've been logged on to, how many minutes they've actually been active. And we're kind of putting that together to kind of quantify the number, what the actual use is. Right now, if I had to give a line as to where we're at, just by our initial reports, is that we're dealing more with a distribution and management problem than we are an actual, quantity of computer problem. Okay. So we do have the budget to cover our replenishments at this point. But as far as adding new, I think we're still on the fence, and that's why we're running some of those reports, trying to really have a real quantifiable number to say, hey, this is how they're being used in the district at this point.
Okay, that's helpful.
Thank you.
Can you clarify, how does this $1.4 million number relate to the BOCES number on the previous slide?
Yep, I was going to point that out at the end here. So the $2 million figure you see on the previous slide is made up of 29 different BOCES posters. we pulled out some of the larger, more key ones to highlight what's purchased out of that COSER. And then the other thing I wanted to point out related to this BOCES figure is the decrease. Our fire truck director was through the BOCES COSER, belonging through BOCES and in-house tech director, which is why we see the decrease of that cycle from the BOCES.
The main reason is that director will now be under instructional component, which will be coming up on the board meeting at the end of the month.
Yes, in your explanation to Mr. Christmas, you said it might be a distribution and management issue. What does that mean?
Well, we kind of taken a look at the mixed use of like a laptop in school. And then we have to take a look at like, okay, so instruction hours, how many instruction hours are there in a day? And how long is that computer being used during that time? So what would happen, and I'm just going to give a kind of a 10,000 foot view, if you will, at this point, because there's still more research to be done. But what might happen is a cart of 30 laptops goes into a classroom and they do stations. And I think you saw that on your course. So there will be 7 computers out for one station. And so the kids go over to that. So that's 7 computers out of a 30 laptop cart. So that's 23 computers that might be sitting dormant during that time. So the distribution of that would be like, well, could we take another of those 23 and put those in other classrooms while they're doing stations as well, and then get that usage up? And that's kind of what we're looking to, is that really how we're distributing it, how we're sharing it, and how we're managing those. It's kind of tough because you have one cart, that's the one that's charging it, so moving it from one classroom to the next could be a problem. Maybe we need to do something more centralized. So we're kind of taking a look at how do we actually place and how do we actually share, and then maybe that will help bring up that number a little bit.
Thank you.
Just to follow on, I appreciate the explanation, and I think it's excellent that we're doing that, and I just would, to the extent it's not being considered, if we're able to take into account how we envision the use of assets may be different or increased as we work through our building project, as we build a new library and we may see greater utilization of that space, project-based learning, and wanting to have the IT assets to assist in that. So I know that's probably hard to quantify, but I just think that's another sort of piece out there to try to draw into that analysis if possible.
Absolutely. And that's, we try to work with, the curriculum leaders as well, and say, okay, this is how it's going to be used. Right now, we're just trying to put a number on it. It's not easy. Any other questions?
Yeah, that's right.
Good evening. Welcome. Going over my looking at facility services. I'll start on line number 1, salaries. I'll have some next slide and show that the increase that you're seeing was the staffing of 2 cleaners that were brought on that we've used that we greatly appreciate. I'll talk about a little more on the staffing in the cleaning department and the one in the maintenance department primarily on the ground to help. So that increase was the staffing that was supported last year. And thank you. Talking on that, that helps. This place is awful busy. It's not just during the day. For those of you that have kids, you come around at night and start the activities that are going on. And it's not just the high school. It would be elementary right up to 9:30 at night. It would be the youth groups. It would be the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. We're full. And that staffing has helped. We allocated some of those hours onto the Saturdays, things we can't get to, but keep the building open to the public. Plus of our own needs that we can, seems like it keeps growing. We do more and more. So I'm thankful for that. I think it's shown. We've implemented it, some of the things that we're doing on maintaining the buildings that we're making these investments. So that's strictly what related to those positions from the year before to clarify on the salary side. Moving on to equipment and vehicles. That number stayed status quo from the year before. That could be a wide range when it says on the equipment. That's everything from vacuums, auto scrubbers, on that line item, anything that would fall over a dollar amount that's on there must be purchased from the vehicles. Rooftop units, anything that would break in a building that would require equipment to be there. That number's, we do have a replacement cycle we've been working on. That number has stayed at the same number that was previously budgeted the year before. Many items are in there more than just equipment that we approved the first off that line. Utilities, that number, we're keeping at the same number. I think that's kind of impressive. Hats off to the energy team. You know, we brought another building back on this year. You're looking at that. You know, it's a smaller building, but to keep that number, just running the numbers, we've made investments in the LED lighting. We do it on our energy team. Mr. DeLorme and other staff members do a phenomenal job with construction. You know, I was putting in last year more money. We just went through the winter months down there and we're working second shift. We don't have that ability. We must maintain. We're not as efficient. But I'm happy to look at those numbers just recently reported today. We're pretty much status quo from last year. I think that's impressive. And that's not just our team, it's the staff buying into it. The last two energy audits this year that just came out, you can just see the buildings are doing well. Hats off to the administrators and staff helping us to keep that money. That's a number we can control. So many that we can. Contracted services, that number is going to stay the same number previously budgeted the year before. All my service contracts, anything that would be labor involved, it could be the taxes for the building, it could be your elevator service, your roof service, our Siemens, which is our energy management and controls that are on there, fire alarm service, multiple other accounts that make up the contracted services. I feel we can keep that same number as well. Moving on to custodial maintenance supplies. This was a number that we've been talking, inflation has caught up to us. We've seen it the last couple years. We've varied the number. It was realistic to move it up some, but we're just seeing that number went up. We tried to raise our bar, reduce some of the staffing, but I've had to shuffle money the last 2 years around some other things into that line item. We need to take account for that. That number stayed zero for a number of years. So we came in and talked early on, looking at that. Several of the programs that we've implemented, supplies have gone up. On our BOCES number, that's slightly gone down from the year before. So we're looking at that total increase of 4.96, primarily out of the staff. This breaks down the numbers we set currently under my department of custodians. That was a number that went from 32 to went to 34. That's brought in that weekend time we're using them. We're using them staffing from Tuesday to Saturday. Every now and then we do have a Saturday no one's around and it's nice to get some things done. It could be mowing where the cars are parked or maintaining. Plus it just allowed us to do things when our teams and other people are in there. Maintenance went from 15 to 16, so that was part of that increase as well. My clerical substitute, summer help and health buyout, I know there was a conversation last year and I just wanted to clear that up a little bit. We thought it was overtime. There's a bunch in there. Yeah, it's not just the substitutes. I think the summer help, we heard from IT, we put a couple in each building, and we seem to get great value for that. Teaching some learning skills as well as we couldn't get the buildings around with what's going on with construction. And the health insurance buyout, overtime's actually in there too, so that's one not showing, but I think it helps quantify that. And it could be overtime that I charge groups later on that I have to pay overtime now that rent our facilities, which we have numbers. You just see it on the expenditure side, you're not seeing it on the revenue that goes back in. But wanted to clear up, I know it's brought up from that. They could be in there, that's the overtime below it as well. That would be primarily for our staff, snow removal, everything else to do stuff like that. Part of that reason that they got some snow removal everything. Future budget considerations. I'm looking at both of them really health and safety on one. Last year, one consideration that we moved the 80 bus radio system went. Maybe years ago, the district did have radios. All right, and, since I've been here, they've gone to cell phone for maintenance. It's just not really as effective real time with many dead spots. Like communication, so I do consider it health and safety as much as us being able to communicate with our guys that are out in the field. But we're looking at this for all buildings, and I think this would be beneficial as we struggle. Some of the buildings have gone to a lower band radio to communicate, and then with this being a professional system tied in along with the bus drive that we talked last year. So this is consideration that I deem that this is not on safety, this is on communication. One other consideration that I brought up in talking on to it is currently we have a great health and safety person through BOCES, Tony Sager, who's great, but we only have him 0.6 3 days a week. When we go 0.6, just many needs for the district that's out there with a lot going on. With even some extra air tests we're taking, we do the lead water testing now that we must do, we'll be coming up this year again. And I'd like it to be considered on a field district of our size, really needs a full-time health and safety. We get every day something's popping up. Tony does a phenomenal job, but over the years, it's time to change, and I really look to put this out for consideration as well. Any questions?
Just to clarify that second point, do you, is it, you would add it to be 100% and still through BOCES, or we would hire our own independent person to do this if you could, I guess, pick what would be the preference?
Well, if I could have 100%, that'd be the guy I want. He has the knowledge, and he's very much on that. The third things going back to BOCES. I know we've asked BOCES what that means to just increase that service, and I know we're currently waiting for that number to go through the BOCES services. So I guess if you're asking me, my first would be 20 at 100% would be very helpful. Now, with that, BOCES would have to agree, and Tony would agree as well. But the first step would be going through BOCES is when we're looking at it. And if it was not, and we couldn't be there, if it wasn't a proposal first, I wouldn't want to just say no. Sometimes you have to get a first credit with this rate.
Okay, the reason I asked, and I appreciate that, I was just thinking about if it's trying to just take the BOCES service to 100%, if maybe there's some, aid on that or something that makes the cost different from if we want to actually hire our own person, and I wasn't sure which two it was.
So we're looking at it now, we just met with the BOCES director today on the service, expressed our desire to explore what this full-time position would look like if we stay through BOCES. So they're going to get me that figure next week, and then I can compare that to the aid we get versus, what does an in-house hire look like to make a more informed decision. So we don't have all the pieces yet, we just recognize that there's a need out there and how to best, get that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
The hardest part, like with some of our things, like with the instructional specialists, the CDO, the difficulty with BOCES across the state is when you're dealing with staffing, there is a premium because we get reduced aid for full-time staff. So that's where the cost benefit analysis has to come, what's in the best interest of the district, the budget, trying to get the best that we can get, but we also don't want to agitate BOCES that we may take some other people, because that's not our intent. It's just that we have to do the best we can with the money and resources that we have.
But in either scenario, it's an increase of 0.4, be it a full-time person, or be it an increase in our contract, so it's not an additional 1.0.
Yeah. It's not, I do not believe it will be a wash in this case. There will be some increase over the 0.4. How much? That's what they will be.
That's nice.
Do you have a number associated with the first bullet point up there?
There was one there. At this time we're looking at, I know as we go through the budget process, we will have a number. We've asked them to come back and look at that. We're evaluating that number, what the need would be, what it would look like to put it in the buildings and stuff. So a number will be forthcoming.
I think last year we had like 75 to
So
80.
last year we did increase the budget to upgrade the radios at the bus garage. That money's still in the budget now, that we're holding for this endeavor to continue the big picture of updating our radios. We are working with the vendor to help us identify what radios we want, who we want to have radios, and get a cost associated with that, so we can see if, you know, how that figure is holding compared to what we need to accomplish in the building.
Potentially, what Katie's also saying is, because part of the money is already in the budget, either on the .4 or the radios, both of these future budget considerations, if we can manage the budget, would not be a significant add. But everything's a discussion point right now.
So could you explain the bus situation, because I thought we implemented that program. Are you saying the bus doesn't have
Yep.
active operating
Yep.
radios right now, or they do?
They do, yeah, we updated the repeater system and all the radios on the buses. So that piece is done. Still fine tuning some tweaks in it, but purchase done and installed. Yes.
In other words, Warren, last year it cost, say, $79,000 to upgrade the repeater system. Right? In this budget, that money's still in the budget as of right now. That's part of that gap.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I thought you meant it was still in the bank account.
No,
Yeah.
so long range plan in the budget, so if the budget can support it, we'll hold that money in there to complete this endeavor. If not, we'll have to have that discussion about how we manage it.
Okay, thank you.
Better sense?
No, not the bank.
Now I understand.
In the budget.
I thought it was still in the bank account.
All set.
Any more questions? Thank you.
And one thing I did want to point out regarding the facilities budget that Mike and I talked about, that he kind of hit on, that, you know, budget's been held flat all these years. Our maintenance needs are changing with this capital project. The needs that, you know, we have to keep our buildings running, our outside groups running, everything's growing. So we've talked about that, you know, his budget may have reached its max at this point. We may have to look at what his budget needs to look like to meet the needs. So we're reviewing his budget. We're going to look at, you know, how he can continue to meet the needs going forward, and we may have to make some adjustments to his overall budget figure. So we're going to look at that and evaluate it a little bit more.
The big thing, just to add, is that when Mike started here, I heard this because it was a little bit before me too. Maintenance and facilities took a 50% full reduction. And the amount of staffing, we're starting to build some of it back. It's not where it needs to be, but as you can see, we're trying. I think that's one of the things also Katie is looking at, not only in supplies, contractual, we have to be able to operate, and the envelope is going to require some changes down the road. Is that fair to say that?
I only correct, it's about 38% was what the one went down.
30, I was always like 50.
I want to clear, but those numbers from 10 years ago are now, we used to have 1.5 cleaners in elementary, and I made that point because we had groups out there until 9:30, 10 at night. One person couldn't clean it, we moved it to 2 when we were getting there in our other areas. But, you know, my first year here was still, you know, I was here first year, we used to have a third shift. It was limited. So, you know, we had a couple of years ago, so I first off very appreciative, and the go there, there's a good value, things are working, but we do struggle, still, especially with the investment, putting $100 million into our building, it's going to be real important that we maintain and don't just let them fall right back apart, but we still have some other areas where, I can only get so much out of it, as much as we do, it is kind of staffing and so much.
And for our community, we're trying to expand our availability, not just 5 days a week. We started with the 6 days, so we don't need as much overtime. But we're looking at how do we become that 7 days, because we really are part of our community. Our community needs access on the weekend. So that's something Mike, Katie, as well as Caitlin are working on as we work with the collective bargaining agreements, and they've been very flexible, to say the least.
Just a clarifying question, Katie, I don't know, you were just kind of talking high level there, discussion, but clarify, do you mean some potential changes of any significance with respect to this current budget you're doing, or do you mean, like, you know?
Potentially, Mike and I still need to evaluate that. Review current needs review where he's at now in his budget. But, you know, as you said, you know, inflation taking a toll on his supply line, and he's having to move money around, takes money from the contractual line. So really looking at what he's spending in his contractual items and his supplied items, and does his budget make sense for what he has to do?
Okay.
And if not, what does that look like and how can we work on getting it there?
And so if you made any material changes as part of that review, you'll bring that back to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions? March 5th, Eagle Park School Community.
Okay, we'll look on to item 6.01, the finance report.
Thank you, President Stroll. I'm going to keep mine relatively brief because Kelly did such a wonderful job. I had cheerlead, she covered it. I had hunchback, she covered it. Gearing up for spring sports and everything. But one of the things that I just want the public to know, as well as the community members that we are hoping will come out, is that we are trying to address, as of interest to all, the pending health issue that's going across the global environment. And in front of the board right now is just a draft letter. We're going to try to get out tomorrow after we also vet it with the health department as well. So that at least we let our community know and provide some guidance that we are monitoring it regularly, as well as we will follow up with additional information once we do. But we can't emphasize more, and my wife would be proud of me for saying this, but wash our hands, sneeze into our arms, cover our coughs, and just general good hygiene. And even if you wash your hands and you have some sanitizer, take the extra ounce of precaution, know where you're going, know who you're around. And if you're sick, please stay home. Usually it's 24 hours. That's what we want to talk to the health department. Right now, it might be, maybe we should think about 48 to 72 hours. We don't know, but just be cautious and get to the doctor if you can. And if the doctor clears you, that's even better. But the more we know, the better informed we are, and hopefully the more we can be preventative. So if the board can just stick around, tell me if anything there. Sue will be around so that we can hear that, and then we'll craft the final letter for tomorrow. I will be heading to Albany with a delegation of about 14 superintendents as we embark about trying to address not only the coronavirus, because I mentioned that will be a major topic for the superintendents across the state and state ed, but also the financial plight of the budgeting process. So we're hoping to have some information on that as soon as possible, and also impact the way that they are looking at the governor's number. For everybody, the St. Patrick's Day annual parade is coming out. We're hoping we'll get a 50-degree day. It would be very nice on Saturday, March 14th. The lineup is over for the school, everything off of Broad Street, and the school has had, for the past 5 years, a very good participation factor. We're hoping to ramp that up even more with plenty more kids and staff and administration to make sure that this is our community and we're one of the biggest investments, and we want to take some time to celebrate with the community. So on behalf of that, I can tell you construction's going very well, and we have a brief report on the instructional side from Mr. Gill and Ms. Owens back there. I think they said they needed about 5 or 6 minutes as they talk a little bit, 5 to 7 minutes. They'll be 10 to 20. So as they talk about math. So Tony.
Good evening. So we do not have a visual presentation. Instead, we want to just talk about some board shared experiences we had with the board and members of the board. The last one being, so we had the last presentation on ELA middle school. We had our board retreat with the administrative staff with some activities. We had our board tours last time we met as well. And a couple of us met part of the planning team for 23rd. So we had some shared experiences we just want to talk about and how they relate to our work that we're currently doing and some of our next steps. So, as I said, last time we presented was on EPLA. We seem to get some good feedback on the visual. We're going to use that as we approach our math work and explain to the board where we are in that process. The ELA presentation was to set the stage a little bit for those board tours, and what you're going to see is amazing work and really the nuts and bolts of the work behind the scenes and how it comes to fruition in the classroom. So we tried to set the stage for that opportunity in those during the board tours, as well as, of course, the opportunity with the capital project, where Mike and Tom will show you what's happening there. So with that, I'm going to switch gears over to from our tour and from our last presentation to some of the curriculum work which you saw in the classroom during the tour and talking about math.
So, again, yeah, it's just, you got to see some of that in action for the ELA. Really a good focus of, it might seem so, it's just wonderful to see it come alive. There's a lot of tears and sweat that's put into it behind the scenes. So I'm really happy that you can be a part of this scene and start to come alive. It's not perfect yet. We're going to keep working through it and keep sharing that. I think we're working really, really hard at putting these pieces together, and we continue to develop those components of the ELA. So phonics, our teachers are going to go through some professional learning this spring. So our phonics curriculum will be implemented in the fall. That's where we're at with that. It's just about finished. You got to see components of it being implemented and the awareness. Our math groups are really, really deep in the work right now. A lot of work being done. They're really focused on quality, so we're really looking and watching very carefully right now where we're at and where we need to be, what the needs are from the team, and getting the right resources in place and making sure that professional learning is really in the right spot. So more to come on when that's going to be out in the classrooms and the learning that might happen. I'll give you more of that once we collect all of their feedback on where we're at and look at the progress. The most important thing, and I want to keep bringing back, is about the quality. Not always pushing them to get done. Yeah, there's some pressure there, but we want to make sure it's done well for students. So that's where we're at with math. We are about to celebrate a great moment. We are almost finished with instrumental music, I think one more time, and it'll be ready to be shared out. We're super excited. Still working through general music, but that is something that we're really going to celebrate because it's been a lot of hard work there and ready to be shared out soon. The next round is our science application just went out for 6th grade through high school. We're going to be starting this spring developing the science curriculum. Looking at those standards and thinking about inquiry and what that should look in the classroom. So we're going to start to share that vision with you as well as those start to unfold. I know you've heard a lot about the maturation of professional learning. It's starting this month in March for our teachers so that it can be implemented in the spring. So that is also moving forward, and I'm excited for those pieces.
A really important part of another celebration is we're having more teachers that are doing professional learning for other teachers, building the capacity of our educators, and not having to bring in from outside, nor to expect the administrators and principals to be the sage on the stage, but rather looking to each other to see it in our letters training that we're moving forward with, stuff with our phonics work, some amazing work at Marianne, and some one that we just currently did, but nonetheless, we just have these opportunities where we're empowering these teachers to get in front of other teachers and share what they know. And we see that conference day as well. We saw it with the work with the special ed department. And so that's what we're gearing towards, is that capacity of the expert who knows it and all the content. So that for us administrators, we facilitate and help, we encourage, we empower them to do more. We have a process side of the work. And moving it forward and the accountability of delivering that curriculum and instruction that we require to do. They talked about process work. Last time you, as a board and administrative staff during our admin retreat, you saw a little bit of a struggle of some of the work we do in that portion of the graduate exercise. You recall how difficult that might have been once you try to start compartmentalizing some of that information and then sitting down and trying to envision what that looks like at the elementary, middle, and high school levels and how difficult that work is. So the curriculum advisory team took a first swing at 3 groups. There were about almost a dozen different groups of information for them to pull and input. So they took the group of the board and the administrative retreat. That was one of the groups. They took their own information from the curriculum advisory team for the portion of graduate. And I can't remember the third group of planning teams. So they took those 3, not knowing that those were the 3, by the way, and they went through a process. We have a student group. Chris already done this with some students, some work on high school seniors. So we're going to insert that, and we have all the curriculum teams. We have a community group meeting, and we'll have other student groups. So just so much information coming in that we'll have a really good grasp to start to work with that graduate. Like I said, you saw how that work is, and you saw that it's meaningful, and it was really powerful conversations. I really enjoyed those conversations we had about the different facets of what a graduate knows, what they value.
Just to share Conference Day is coming, so just to keep you know about Conference Day, we have our professional learning team that is really working hard on putting this day together. We're kind of trying to make a little bit of a shift and really drive an individualized professional learning for all staff that will be here that day. So the morning will be based on allowing our to choose from some online learning, but they get to choose what fits their needs and what they need in that current role or in their curriculum work. So they're going to be able to stay at the buildings and work through that, and then we're going to offer some online or some face-to-face sessions on social emotional, so they can have face-to-face interactions. And then we're going to have a big wellness fair from 11:15 to 1 that Sue's been working really hard on. Please, if you get a moment and you'd like to stop by, it's going to be great. A lot of community members will be there. There's really some great things there. And then the afternoon, it looks a little different for some of our staff. We are doing some curriculum work, but we're also providing some sessions, especially for our teacher assistants and needs. There's just a lot going on in the afternoon, just kind of fitting those needs of what those groups need.
And the conversation we've been having, especially with the planning team, is about making sure we hit all aspects of the work, all the different facets, not just the educational lens. So Tiffany has reached out to the secretarial unit, TAs, checking with Mike in the maintenance department, as well as Pete, making sure we're meeting the professional needs that they have and whatever we need to support those needs. So it is a full holistic look at the system. How does it support each other? So we have professional learning, we have curriculum advisory, and Kelly and Caitlin were wonderful to lead forward the wellness team and starting to go through that information about what are some, based on the feedback we had from the October conference today about what's next and how should the district prioritize our next steps in wellness, student wellness. So they started that process with that group, and we'll continue that to figure out, similar to what the curriculum advisory and professional graduate, which they're doing with wellness and student and staff wellness, and what we can do to move that initiative forward. And like I said, lots of inputs from the teaching staff and those that participate in that. Lastly, the planning team has met. We're going to be scheduling again in the spring. For a reminder, that's board leadership, central office leadership, administrative units leadership, and UCA leadership coming together to talk about the system-wide process of how we're going about what we're doing. Big emphasis there, and takeaways correct is that communication is always awesome work, not just in this forum, but where else do we communicate this work the same way in tandem with the person more of what we're doing in the building project. For that expectation that we have these people in the rooms, and let's unroll this curriculum we're working hard on in tandem. Questions?
Just a quick one. Thank you for the update. I think you said the maturation curriculum, the updated one, is going to be implemented. You say this coming spring, and is that across all the different grades it applies to, or is it going to be sort of a phased implementation?
It's going to be 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. It's all to be implemented.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
I'll pass on that because we did the tours.
Okay, so then we'll jump right to 7.03 policy.
Okay, we met on February 13th, and we reviewed 4 policies as part of our sequential review. Policy 2130 on board member resignation was fine in its current form, left unchanged. There are small changes being recommended as first reading to policy 2140, board removal from office, policy 2150, unexpired term fulfillment, and policy 2160, school district officer and employee code of ethics. We also have second readings that are on the agenda for tonight, and in future meetings we'll be discussing policy 4770, graduation requirements, and policy 9270.1, substitutes.
Any questions or comments for the committee? All right, move on to item 8. Have in front of us 8.02 through 8.14.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? One?
I'll abstain on 8.13.
As closest employee, I'm going to abstain on 8.9 and 8.10, and stay involved post-season expenditures and post-season employee.
Just on 8.14, just so the board knows, the capital bids that you're about to approve tonight will put forth the intermediate school and middle school project, which will start somewhere around the summer. The total allotment for that bid, we came in with all alternates roughly about $30,000 over. However, the entire project, which is our 5 projects, with the last project coming in on bid, even with that $31,000 over, we are still projected to be roughly about $450,000 under on our total project. So it is highly likely that we will have more from our last project, and we'll try to gain as much as we can.
Just to make a comment in regard to that, on April 1-4, I think for me, it would be helpful maybe at a future board, as we get closer. We've spent so much time focused on the high school part of it.
Yep.
I frankly don't remember exactly all the elements of the scope of the middle school, so I think as that moves forward, it's better so we can have a similar kind of schematic presentation like we've had in the past.
I'll ask Mike to work on that with Welker, just so that you know, it will be the full renovation of the intermediate school and middle school cafeteria, joining them together and providing a stage center performance area in there. It will be on the middle school side, the refurbishment, renovation of the tech rooms, the art rooms, as well as getting rid of a lift and going to handicap accessible to that area, and then also all the science rooms as well, in addition to the back parking lot and the front entryway of the major parking lot as we need to redesign from our summer project. But we'll have pictures and other things.
We'll add it to next Welliver presentation coming up with the next one they bring. We'll bring those in.
That sounds perfect. Thank you.
Will that all be accomplished in one summer or?
2 summers. Oh. Yeah, it'll start this summer. We'll have to do the library because we don't want to do the parking lot until the next summer because we'll be driving trains and everything. So, but it'll take at least a solid year, 2 summers, I think is the projected time.
You'll see the north parking lot where we merge when you come down now, and they ended up that saying we need to merge them a little further in our property to keep it a safe exit, or to help enhance that exit, I should say. So you'll be seeing that work this summer, and the classrooms, half of the tech we hope to be done. We're actually hoping to have them all done real close to school. But we have a plan to at least open up the majority of them and then jumping into the science room. The cafeteria will be similar to what we're working there. Come December next year, that cafeteria will be shut down. There'll be changes we'll be reporting soon. We're working on the scheduling of it right now.
And so that the board is already aware, I've already made both basketball coaches aware, the main competition gym will be shut down, as it will be the cafeteria for almost a year. Depending on timing, we're working on when it will be shut down, what we can, and the number one question is, where's our basketball games going to be? For the most part, all of our basketball games could take place in the field house, or we could utilize a gym over here. However, I think they'd rather have the field house. The 2 biggest games are most likely the boys' games against Corning and Elmira. It could potentially be the girls' games against Corning and Elmira as well, but we'll try to talk with them, and if the gym's open and we're able to use it, we're going to ask the athletics to try to front schedule our game if possible. There's some other options that we might ask Elmira, could we do the Corning game at their house and Corning do the Elmira game at their house, so that we at least have the opportunity of a away series. Have a home game, not just 2 away games. But both coaches are aware of it. Nobody's ever happy with it, but it is what we're doing.
Would it be completed by school year end? No.
I would say we are estimating 9 months here at the high school, which is what they always estimate. We have said always conservatively do 12, and it could still run over. Like right now, we're starting to get behind here, not because of any reason, but we have to get steel, construction, and we can't be lifting things when students are in, so there's planning with it.
So my question is, if something were to happen in the first arena for graduation, in the past, the inside venue was that gym.
Yeah.
So we just need to think about that, just in case.
Oh yeah. I'd be calling my new colleague over at Corning.
Maybe you have the domes, I'm not sure where you have, it. Maybe you have a corner in the domes.
Or we might be able to do a nice outside graduation, you never know.
Okay.
They do them.
I don't know if they do it. But we won't be able to do it out back here, that's for sure. It'll be money. We'll work on that, but right now we've, for all intents and purposes, because one of the basketball venues could also be First Arena. They do have a court, although they probably should have bought our older basketball rooms because theirs don't look that very good. So. But we're working on it, it's starting to get out there, so we'd rather have you know that that's the best place for the cafeteria because of water, power, and access. How's that one?
I'd just like to add, because the administrators are here, their input for curriculum as well, as much
They've
as
been
the
great.
athletics, we're working the curriculum side of it, and we've met even just this week, making sure the day-to-day functions, you got 4 teaching spaces, so we're on a very preliminary schedule working out some things.
And plus, this frees them up now that they can talk. Because we said don't tell anybody, so it's the cat's out of the bag.
More?
So that's what I was gonna ask, are there gonna be, as there is in the high school, classroom limitations where teachers are gonna have to go somewhere else while construction goes on?
There'll be some time on the swing space, I think is what the terminology we have on that, and that's all the things that we're working on right now.
I think one of the things, they're trying to do half the science classrooms in one summer, and then the other summer. And then with the tech and the art, they're trying to do half so they can swing into the other ones as much as possible. But there will be some planning and it can be the same. Yes.
Other comments? April, June, 14. All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? Okay, on to item 9. HR recommendations.
In section D, candidate number 3, it says non-certified, but it doesn't say whether or not that candidate is degree.
No, he's not.
He is not degree.
Correct.
Then I will be voting no on that.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any additional nays? Any exceptions? Okay, on to item 10. We have in front of us 10.02 through 10.07.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
So that the board knows, I just included the field trips that I already had to approve. Just as a matter of the record, it's for state championships and all for the ordinance.
Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? On to item 11. We have 11.01 through 11.04.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? Item 12, first reading, we have 12.01 through 12.04. Any questions or comments? Okay, moving right along to item 13, any additional board member comments?
On the visits to the middle school, and I apologize, Mr. Corey, I don't remember the actual name of that new program that was started at the first period study hall.
Oh, the advisory study hall?
Yes, talking with the young people in that room was just so wonderful, and they were so proud of their accomplishments, and it sounds to me like it's a very positive undertaking.
Thank you for putting together the letter on the coronavirus. And there's parents that will want to hear something, so this is nice you're putting out. Okay, thank you.
But it's nice that Sue has a bank of a lot of former H1N1 letters, but it follows, and then we set it up for the condition, and then we're doing the vetting of it, so thank you very much.
A technology question. I think it was New Mexico is suing Google for collection of student data. Are we in any kind of jeopardy like that, or can you help inform me?
What that is?
Are we in jeopardy of being sued, or are we?
No, not us. Is Google collecting our data? Should we join the lawsuit? Maybe?
It's a loaded question, really. We're living in a world right now.
What it is commissioners regs 10-2D or
NY2D.
NY2D. And what that is we have to be very careful with third-party vendors who we contract with and that may have access to our data. We are under a requirement to have them sign contracts or have an agreement with them that they agree not to share the data, not to harvest the data, not to distribute the data. Under this law, we must ensure that they do not. Now that can be with any single program. So if you're using like ClipDiver as a math function, we've got to do it with that company. What happens is we have to do a survey. That's what Ms. Donahue, that's what Bill, Sean, and a couple are working on right now to try to ensure that. Google in New York State, because Google honestly isn't saying yes to anyone, but they have come under, we have been notified by the state education department, they are working on a state ed level to comply. Because they have access to just about everything. Well, look at Outlook, look at all the others. So we are doing, that's that law that went into effect last year that we were supposed to have in place by starting to look July of last year and in place by December 31st of 2019, that they've extended by another year because they found out laws are great, but trying to get everybody into compliance takes a little time. The state has been working on Google because they will not deal with individual districts. New York State has put out that Google has complied at this point, and they are in their final process. But in New Mexico, proudly haven't. And therefore, they have a right to seek that litigation. But I will follow up and ask that question this weekend as well, because it is one of the workshops that we're really emphasizing is this new privacy information law. Remember, the state put in that privacy officer like 5 years ago and just came out with regulations last year. So that's where we're at, and that's what is the process. Right, Bill?
We're doing well and trying to get the vendors in line with what we need.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just so the board knows, we're going to try to finalize the calendar. We've got a little tweaking to do with the calendar for next year, but pretty much 4 to 5 districts in Chemung County are almost on the same calendar. I am told that the BOCES calendar will be almost the same, except they will have February break. We will not. The only question I think right now is whether they start before Labor Day or after Labor Day. We are not starting before Labor Day, and we will have run the calendar so that people know we'll have 2 days at President. That will be that Monday and Tuesday like we've traditionally had. Our December break will be from the 24th, which is a Thursday, all the way through January 1st, which is about a week and 2 days. Our April break will be Good Friday, will be on April 2nd, and then it will run through the entire next week, the 5th through the 9th. Our conference day next year will be on October 9th and March 15th. And there will be a little difference at the beginning of the year with freshman first day that the high school is working on, just for this year only. But at the end of the year, where we had days off for the middle school and the elementary schools, In the last 2 weeks, there will be no days off. There will be 4 half-days in the last week for their administrative business, Monday through Thursday. Students' last day will be officially at the elementaries June 24th. Teacher rating day will be June 25th, and we'll be in compliance. So I'm just waiting on all the other facets to confirm, and then I will try to get this for the March board meeting so that we can finalize it. Because honestly, Sue needs it for our overall calendar, and it will help Mike in his planning purposes for next construction. Just be aware of that. One last thing, just with the board. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. I usually try to reach out and see if the board members and one guest would like to come and which night, and if you would, in seating afterwards, I will work on it with the powers to be to get you all situated. If you need more than that in tickets, I would ask you, I'll get you the 2, but let me coordinate it, tell me how many you need, and I'll get them back. Fair enough? Thank you very much, and that's, for the district, that's as some of the gratitude for you doing this kind of service and not getting much kudos and remuneration.
All right, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Safe drive home.